All right, decision-making students, let's talk about expected allowance. Daniel receives a weekly allowance of $20 from his father. How much would Daniel receive in a year of allowance? Well, that's pretty simple. $20 a week from his father. There's 52 weeks, so I'm going to multiply 52 weeks by $20. I get $1,040. All right, pretty simple. All right, so here's where we actually run into the lesson, and it says this: the father made a deal with Daniel that involves doing push-ups. Now, Daniel could easily just stick with having $1,040 a year. Okay, he can do that, or he can do this deal down here. So let's figure out what the deal is. If he could do 30 push-ups, Daniel will get $15. Okay, if he couldn't do 30, he would get 10. So it's either, like let's say this is round one. So this is round one of push-ups. He's either going to do them or not do them. So it's either if he if he does it, he would get $15. If he fails, he would only get $10. Okay. Now, here's the second part. If he could do another 30, then he would get an extra $10. Okay. So over here, if he can do another 30, meaning if he does it again, he would get a grand total of $25. As opposed, if he fails, he's only stuck with 15. Okay, so this is how the problem is set up. Its problem set up is where if he can do 2 sets of 30, he's going to walk away with $25. If he cannot do 30 at all, meaning he gets on the ground, he can't do 30, he gets stuck with just $10. Now, if he can do the first 30 and then can't do the second 30, he gets 15. Okay, now a lot of information. Let's actually apply it to a tree chart. A tree diagram. All right, so if he could do 30 push-ups, oh, we already got that. Here's the results. Daniel could do the push-ups 60% of the time. Okay, going back to what we know as we're filling in our chart here, he can do push-ups 60% of the time, which means he's a 40% chance of failing. All right. Now it's the same concept over here. This 60% will also be applied over here because once again, he has a 60% pass rate. Sorry. So if this is 60, this will be 40 as well. Okay. Now let's understand what each and all this means in our chart. Okay. If he can do 30 push-ups and 30 push-ups again, that means he was able to be successful with all of his push-ups, which means he will get $25 here. Okay. If he, let's see if I can do a highlighter again. If he's able to do 30 push-ups and then he fails at the second attempt, then that means he's only going to be walking away with $15. Okay. And then lastly, if he cannot do 30 push-ups at all, he failed, and that means he would only get $10. So this is how it all breaks down in the chart. Okay, pretty simple. Now what we got to do is we got to figure out exactly what is the probability that he's going to be able to do this. Okay, if he could do 30 push-ups and then do an additional 30 push-ups, that means he was able to do 60%, 60%. You multiply the two together, you get 0.36. I'm just going to convert it as a decimal. Let's say if he does 60% and then he fails at the 40%, that would be 0.24. Okay, and then if he fails, it's just a plain 40%, so failing would be 40%. I know I'm writing it way over here. That's just because I want you to see them all together. Now, going back to what we know about tree diagrams, remember what all has to equal 100? This all has to equal 100%. This all has to equal 100%. And of course, everything that you multiply after the fact has to equal 100%. Okay, so there's our tree diagram. Let's move on. All right, so I went ahead and filled in all my information on my chart here. And so here we go. What's the probability of doing only 30 push-ups or doing, let me change this, doing 30 push-ups, and then failing second attempt, well, that's the 24% mark. Remember, we're multiplying 60% as in completing it, and then failing at 40%, you get 20.24. I'm just going to leave it like that. Doing both 30 push-ups, meaning he was able to do everything, that is 36%, or 0.36, and just being a failure, that would be 0.4. And I'm going to put a 0 there just to kind of keep it simple. All right, so how many weeks will Daniel only get $10? All right, this is where a lot of students are going to screw up on this because they need to make sure they read their chart, okay? The 10%, or I'm sorry, only get $10, that's all this information down here. That's 40% of the time he's only going to get $10. Now, the 40% of the time, what does that mean? That means 40% of the weeks in the year, okay? And so what's going to happen is we are going to take 52 weeks out of the year. We are going to multiply it by 0.4 because that tells me his failure rate. And I'm going to get 20.8. So I'm going to get, lost my place here. There we go. I'm going to get 20.8 weeks. Now, what exactly is 20.8 weeks? Can't really work on that. We're going to say just round up to 21 weeks. Okay? Because we really need to do in full weeks here. How many weeks will he only get $15? Well, doing $15 is 24%. So once again, 52 weeks out of the year times 0.24 gives me, when I multiply this together, 52 times 0.24. Once again, I'm going to get a decimal, and I'm going to get 12.48, which I'm just going to round down to just 12 weeks. Okay. How many weeks will he get 25? So that is 36%, so that is 52 times 36%, 0.36. And so my answer is 52 times is going to be 18.7. I'm going to round to get 19. Okay. Now, one thing to notice, and that is all the weeks after you multiply the 21, the 12, the 19, and these gives you 52 weeks. So there's 52 weeks out of the year. All right. Now, another thing that's going to throw some students off. Based on this system, how much cash will he get in a year? Well, 21 weeks out of the year. So I'm going to write it down here. 21 weeks out of the year, he's getting $10. Okay. So if I was to multiply that out, I would get $210. Okay. 12 weeks out of the year, he's only getting $15. So if I was to multiply that out, 12 times 15, I would get $180. Okay. Lastly, 19 weeks out of the year, he's getting $25. So multiply that out, 19 times 25, that gives me $475. So add it all up, 210, 180, 475. I get an answer of $865 a year. Okay, $865 a year. So, is this a better deal for Daniel or his father? I would say his dad. The reason I would say his dad is because he's saving money. Because originally, under the $20 a week, he's getting $10.40 under just the basic $20 a week. But under this system of push-ups, he's getting $865, or dad has to pay $865. So it's a better deal for dad because he's not having to fork out as much money. All right, let me know if you have any questions. Thank you for watching.